Hey there, Pisces. Welcome in to Great Awakener Ether Realm. My name is Kimberly, and I am going to do an astrological report for the week of January 20th through the 26th. All right? So to start off, this past weekend, the sun moved into Aquarius, which is your 12th house of subconscious dreams. You are the ruler of dreams, so you might have even more dreams at this moment. um, Secrets, anything that is hidden from you or that you hide from yourself, in your subconscious. And I'll be going into that a little bit later. One of the things that I want to point out, the other thing that happened this past weekend, is the Venus, conjuncted Saturn in your sign. So Saturn has been in your sign since March 2023. It is the planet of discipline. It rules Capricorn and also Aquarius. So you want to look at Saturn, even looking at like the rings around it, you kind of want to look at it as like a belt, like tightening the belt. And it's also a very karmic planet. You kind of want to look at it as like the wheel, the karmic wheel. Okay? So it's been in there for almost 2 years. You've probably, it's not exactly the best placement for Saturn to be in. And you've probably had a lot of, discipline coming into your life, And if you weren't willing to be disciplined and like learn the karmic lessons that Saturn wants you to learn, you've probably had some upheaval, right? That's kind of how Saturn works. So I'm sorry. But Venus comes in to conjunct and soften that, okay? Now Neptune is your ruler, and it's been in Pisces for 13 to 14 years now. Okay, it's going to move out into Aries later this year, but then it'll retrograde back in for a while as well. Okay, now Venus, Neptune is considered the higher octave of Venus. Okay, and then Venus is exalted in Pisces. It can do its best work. So even though you've had Saturn in there for quite some time, Venus is coming in to show you some reprieve. Okay. It very much softens that Saturn influence. Okay, so hopefully this weekend has been, decently nice for you, right? We also have the lunar node, the north node in your sign as well, which I went over last week. Now, one of the things that I did not go over is why the lunar nodes are so important. Okay, the nodes are not objects, they're mathematical points, and they are where eclipses occur. Eclipses are the most dramatic events that you can get in astrology, okay? And now you have your north node in the north node in your sign. We did have an eclipse back when the sun was in Virgo. It was a very partial eclipse. It was like 17%. And then when the sun moves into your sign next month, it is going to start off the eclipse season again. Okay? The very first one, I'm going to tell you this because it has to do with your sign so much. Okay? The very first eclipse that we're going to get is going to be March 13th to the 14th, and that is going to be a lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is your partnership sign. Okay, so, and then the next solar eclipse that we're going to get is actually in Aries, and that is going to finish up the eclipses that were in Aries and Libra this past year and a half. It's going to close up that cycle. But I just want to give you a heads up that there is going to be a lunar eclipse in March 13th to 14th. Okay, and that will be in your partnership sector. So, but we're going to focus on this week, right? But I hope that you had a little bit of reprieve this past weekend from that Saturn influence, okay? So to start off with, Monday the 20th, the moon is in Libra, which is your 6th house, or excuse me, your 8th house. It's your 8th house of other people's money, it's taxes, debts, also sex, rebirth, transformation, and intimacy. Okay, so you might have had a real nice week because the moon was in Libra starting this past weekend. It's just finishing up its cycle here on Monday. Okay, so you might have had, you know, a nice weekend, possibly. But the moon moves to that 23-degree axis that I talked about in last week's video, where the full moon was in Cancer. Okay, Cancer is your 5th house of romance, children, creativity. Okay, where Mars is at the moment, it's in retrograde. It's going to come out of retrograde February 23rd. So, and that's going to hit this 23-degree axis that full moon was in. It's going to square it. Okay, so it's going to trigger these 2 planets again. Okay, and then Mercury is going to come in to kind of take the place of where the Sun was last week. Mercury will be at 19 degrees to 27 degrees by the end of the week. So, Mars is the planet of intensity, passion. It's in retrograde, so it's very internal right now. So you may have possibly had a hiccup with somebody who you're intimate with. Okay, maybe some children. This also has to do with other people's money. You know, maybe it has to do with children and money. Okay, there are many different scenarios that this could happen with, but it's also in going across the axis to Capricorn, which is your friendships, hopes, and wishes. So you may have had something happen with a friend as well. Friends, you know, children, money, or you could have your hopes and wishes with a creative project. Okay. Now, when anything is in your 5th house, you always kind of want to, if you're not looking into create children, you might want to protect yourself. Okay. If you are looking to create children, that's, anything in your 5th house can really, and Mars is like the planet of intensity. So whichever way that you roll, if you want children, don't want children, try to make you're going to possibly, that sector is still going to be hit with this, the full moon, and then it comes around the next week. The full moon was like last Monday, the 13th, depending on where you are in the world. And that moon is going to come and square that axis, okay? Especially if you have anything around 23 degrees. A lot of the planets are in the 3rd decan at the moment, which means that they're between 20 and 30 degrees. So a lot of stuff is getting hit, especially in your sector of Pisces, okay? So let's see here. All right, Tuesday. The moon is going to come around into Scorpio, which is one of your nice houses, right? That trines you. Scorpio is your 9th house of expansion, long distance travel, higher learning, anything that's outside of your community, okay? It is going to come around and square the Pluto and Sun that just are conjunct in Aquarius right now. As said before, Aquarius is your 12th house of the subconscious. Now, you are the natural ruler of the 12th house. So, it's pretty comfortable for you. You can deal with these energies. Scorpio is also the ruler, or Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio as well. So, these houses are since it's your natural house, there's a lot of transformation. I did go over this last week. Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for the next 19 years. So there's going to be a lot of transformation on your subconscious. Okay, a lot of inner work going on here. And then the moon in Scorpio is going to come around and square that. It does create a tense aspect, but honestly, I'm not too worried about it with you, since it's in your 9th house and your 12th house, and you're the ruler of 12th house. So it's probably some energies that you could probably deal with pretty easily. It also, you might have a lot more dreams, as I said earlier, intense dreams, a lot of, what is the word that I'm trying to say? I want to say, astral travel, like, just came into my head. And this is your expansion zone. So I mean, you might, if you don't know how to astral travel, you might learn how to do it in these times. Yeah, that came in. I'm sorry, that just came into my head. So I'm not too worried about this square. It's just going to kind of set off, the stuff that you're already used to, honestly. So that happens on Tuesday. Only thing that's happening on Tuesday, really. So that's all that you have to really worry about, is what I'm going to say. Okay. The moon then comes into trine Saturn. Now, Venus is going to move from 16 degrees with Saturn to 22 degrees by the end of the week. So it's still decently close to Saturn when these trines hit. It's going to trine Saturn, Venus, and then Neptune, and then, of course, the North Node. That's actually a very nice aspect for you. Even though this square sets off here, like, you can expect it to really soften when you get this trine coming in here. Okay, and that's going to happen Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's going into Thursday. Okay. Then you're going to have the moon come into oppose Taurus, or Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. So again, you got a whole lot of subconscious 12th house energy coming in here. The Uranus is called the Great Awakener. It's a lot of epiphanies. It causes chaos sometimes to awaken people as well. So this is in your 3rd house of community. You might have, something going on with, people in your community. Community is all about just the people that you grew up with. It also represents your siblings, just to throw that out there. Short distance travel. You might be having something going on in your long distance and short distance travel. Okay? But, again, 12th house ruler, you're the traditional 12th house. I'm not too worried about that, right? Especially if you're just talking about, and it's also early learning, higher learning, So that's a real nice axis for you, okay? Also going on Thursday, Mars is sextile Uranus. Okay, Mercury is opposing Mars and trining Uranus. So you have this nice little trine going on here. Trine, sextile. Capricorn is your 11th house of friendships. You're also going to have the moon come in and sextile little Mercury here in Capricorn as well. So you might have a lot of stuff going on in your friendship sector, your dreams, hopes, wishes. We did kind of go over this with this opposition already. But you might be having something going on with friendships, community, and 9th house expansion. Okay? And hopes, wishes, so you might be expanding in these sectors. Okay? Romance. So, although there's some squares going on here, you look like you're probably going to have kind of a nice time coming up to this weekend. Okay? So then the moon goes into Sagittarius, which is your 10th house of career and reputation. where it's immediately going to sextile that Sun and Pluto in your 12th house of Aquarius. Okay, where there's this square here, it's going to come in and like soften everything that happened. Like I said, I can't get astral travel out of my head, so I feel like maybe you're going to learn to astral travel. Okay, that's really what's coming into my head right now. Yeah. But after that, the moon Sagittarius is going to oppose Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter is the natural house of Sagittarius, but it's also the traditional ruler of Pisces as well. This is your home sector, and this is your reputation career sector. Jupiter's been in Gemini since May, so you probably have had a lot of emphasis on your home and family life. Now, these past couple of weeks, these planets in Pisces have come around to square Jupiter. They're moving out of it, but so you may have had some. I'm going to call so when you have upheavals, it's really a way the universe is trying to get you to learn some lessons or whatnot, just trying to awaken you to whatever is going on here. So squares to me, it's kind of like in tarot, the tower. You know, when you have a tower moment, it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Okay, so something may have happened these last few weeks in your home sector. Okay, but Jupiter is going to be going direct on February 4th, so it's going to ease up, but it's also going to come back and square these planets again. Okay, it's going to take a while for it to square everything again. So that's probably going to go into February, if not March. Okay, but I'm just giving you a little heads up on that one. So you have career. You know, this is come in through the weekend. Career, you know, having an opposition with your family and home. Okay, your 4th house also rules your mother. Okay, so then the moon moves into, you know, oppositions with all of these planets in your 1st house. So something may be going on with your career and reputation, and it's hitting your the way that you project yourself into the world. I'm trying to think of a scenario. I mean, your career reputation and the way that you project yourself into the world. Like, how much more can you put onto that, right? So this happens through the weekend. Okay? And then the moon comes into sextile Mercury. Mercury goes from 19 to 27 degrees throughout the week. It is the second fastest moving planet. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a semi-sextile. What was I reading here? I'm sorry. The moon comes in to square the lunar nodes and Neptune, which is your sign. Okay? Which is your planet, your sign, and the lunar nodes. So, you know, you may be feeling, you know, I always call that the la-di-da aspect when you have the moon squaring Neptune, where you're feeling daydreamy and really just kind of want to relax. Okay? Now, since it's your sign, you know, that energy is probably is totally fine for you. Also, the moon rules Cancer, which is your 5th house. You might be having something going on with your romance, children, creativity here. So you might create feel like creating something in your career here. Okay? The other thing that's going on that doesn't happen often is we have a trine between Venus and Mars. They're the lovers of the zodiac. Venus is in your sign. Venus is exalted in your sign. Okay? This aspect does not happen often because of the way that the planets orbit, so it's something to really take advantage of. So Saturday, you might be looking at some romance, some, you know, children aspects, creativity again. I'm getting a lot of creativity in your career for some reason. But a trine is the best that you can get. You already know that your sign is very ethereal. Cancer is also very ethereal. And then, of course, you have the moon coming in to square everything. So, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of creativity in your career, possibly. Okay, maybe you deal with children in your career. Possibly. Yeah. Moving on. We also have, okay, I went over that. We have Mercury sextile Neptune, and then Venus sextile Uranus, and Mercury trine Neptune. So you have this triangle here, and then you have this triangle here. Okay? Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a lot of stuff going on with your friends here. Okay? Mercury also rules your home, Gemini, and Virgo, which is your partnership sector. So maybe your friends and partners, maybe you might be going out with some friends and your spouse, possibly, or you might be staying home and having some good times there as well. There, yeah. Yeah. Astral travel and children and friends. It had a lot of stuff in the ethereal just really going on this weekend is what I'm getting, honestly. Okay? The moon then goes into Capricorn by the end of the weekend, which again is your friendship sector. So, yeah, maybe you'll start a friendship with somebody in your career. Yeah. Hopes, wishes. Maybe some hopes and wishes will come true for you in your career with that creativity going on there. There's a lot of things that could be going on with these aspects. For it, it's different for everyone. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there, and maybe I'll see you next week. If you want to know what happens next week. And until then, I do offer personals with astrology, tarot, and other healing modalities. If you would like to know what's going on next week, you can subscribe. You can check out my website, all of that, right? But until then, I have this feeling that you're going to have some fun astral traveling. But anyway, until then, maybe I'll see you next week, okay? You have a good week, Pisces. Bye.